اوكي، اهلا وسهلا فيكم الجميع اخواتي واخوتي بلقائنا الثامن. وهالمره مبعدين شوي صغيره، بعيد يمكن جغرافيا بس قريب للقلب. في المحل واهله. فطبعا بعدين بنقدم للاستاذ هشام. استاذ هشام خطيب من القدس، من ابن القدس، من ابن البلد القديمه، من ابن الاسوار، من ابن البيوت العريقه. فبنعطي المجال لأخونا وحبيبنا أستاذ رائد ينطينا يعني على المواضيع الآنية العامة بخصوص المنتدى ولوين وصلنا. وطبعا يرحب بأخونا وحبيبنا أستاذ هشام. تفضل أستاذ رائد.
يسعد مساكم جميعا. من موقع انه احنا مصرين انه نواصل، مصرين انه نبقى على تواصل فيما بيننا، مصرين انه زي ما حكينا في اللقاء الاول نستغل هذه الفرصة اللي هي مش يعني فرضت علينا. فاحنا اليوم لقائنا الثامن، ولكن قبل ما ندخل لموضوع لقائنا الثامن ومين هو الزميل اللي راح يتحفنا في هذا اللقاء، بدي أكد من جديد إنه إحنا في خضم سلسلة من النشاطات راح تكون أمامنا بالفترة القريبة. اليوم أبو طارق، آه، يعني عميد المرشدين العرب، أعلن عن نشاط في الشمال، الشمال في بلدة الرامي، اللي هو جزء من نشاطات المنتدى بالتعاون مع دائرة الآثار، وتحديدا مع الزميل كميل ساري، الدكتور كميل ساري والدكتور وليد أطرش. راح تكون في ندوة في المركز الثقافي على اسم حنا مويس في بلدة الرامي ب8 شباط. هاي ضمن نشاطات المنتدى والتعاون مع أطراف أخرى لربط العمل الإرشادي مع القاعدة الجماهيرية اللي إحنا نتعاون معها، مراكز ثقافية، مراكز جماهيرية، مراكز أبحاث، مؤسسات رسمية، مؤسسات غير رسمية. فب8/2 راح يكون في ندوة في مساء في نادي حنا مويس الرامي حول كتاب أحجار تحكي حكاية من الجليل. فهذا النشاط راح يتوج في التاريخ المهم لكل واحد فينا. 9 آذار، 9 آذار هو موعدنا جميعا مع المؤتمر الثاني لمنتدى مرشدين السياحة العرب، اللي هو راح يكون قمة من ناحية إثرائية بمضامينه، راح تسمعوا التفاصيل لاحقا. وأيضا هو فرصة لتطوير إداء هذا الجسم أو هاي الخيمة اللي بتضمنا كلنا. 9/3، لأننا إحنا بخضم مجموعة من النشاطات. بحب أخبركم إنه طاقم المنتدى اللي يعمل بدون توقف أسبوعيا، في عنا اجتماع لمواكبة ومتابعة التحضيرات للمؤتمر. نتأمل تجاوبكم حتى فعلا يكون 9 آذار هو يوم ومناسبة تسجل في مسيرة المنتدى من أجل حقوق ومن أجل إمكانيات الزملاء المرشدين في كل المجالات. دائما في اتصالات لزملاء وزميلات اللي بيبدوا استعداد للمساعدة، وهي فرصة نعاود نأكد على الموضوع. المجال مفتوح لأي أي زميل أو زميلة بتشوف من الإمكانية أنه يقدم يد المساعدة في كل المجالات، والمجالات كثيرة للتحضير لهذا الحدث. فرجاء لا تترددوا في هذا الموضوع. اختصارا للوقت، احنا اليوم ننتقل من المناطق اللي زرناها في ال7 لقاءات الماضية في منطقة الشمال إلى قلب نشاطنا السياحي جميعا. يعني ما فيش أي مرشد منا باخذ جروب بتكونش القدس في مركزه. وكان الخيار تحديدا على زميل، أولا زميل، وثانيا شخص القدس تعيش فيه وهو يعيش في القدس، يعني يتحدث من قلب التاريخ يتحدث من سلب الحدث بمهنيه بموضوعيه. عدا انه محاضرنا اليوم الزميل هشام خطيب هو ابن القدس، وابن القدس العتيقه تحديدا، ولد فيها ويعيش فيها وينشط فيها. هو ايضا درس في مدارسها، في مدرسه الرشيديه، تخرج من المدرسه الرشيديه، تعلم التمريض واصبح ممرض، ثم انتقل الى الهندسه الميكانيكيه واصبح مهندس ميكانيكي، ومن ثم تحول الى اخصائي في بناء برامج للاعداد المهني او للتاهيل المهني في عده مجالات. واخيرا قرر انه يتفرغ للمجال اللي بيعشقه والمجال اللي بيعيشه، وهو الارشاد السياحي، من نقطه مهمه، وهي جزء من رؤيتنا نحن كمنتدى، من خلال الرؤيه والروايه والنراتيف الفلسطيني الذي يتحدث به ابناء الوطن، طبعا بكل مهنيه وبكل موضوعيه. زميلنا هشام خطيب جزء منكم يمكن نتعرف عليه، احنا عملنا بفتره الكورونا على ما اذكر يومين اسرائيات في القدس، ورافقنا خلال اليومين بشكل تطوعي رغبه منه بتقديم كل مساعده ممكنه، ومن هناك بدات علاقتنا معه. احنا بنعتز بالعلاقه مع هشام الخطيب، مع كل زملائنا في القدس، تحديدا في نقابه الادلاء العرب، احنا بنرحب فيهم ونسعى الى تطوير العلاقه معهم ومع كل زميل ومن زميل. لن ادخل في الاسماء، ولكن اسمحوا لي اخص احد الزملاء اللي احنا نعتقد انه هو عنوان لنا، زميلنا محمود ابو عيد ابو جميل، اللي هو كمان بيوصلنا لكثير من الاسماء. بتمنى لكم امسيه غنيه، وانا واثق انها راح تكون غنيه، تزيد من جعبه كل واحد وواحد فيكم استعدادا للايام اللي جاي، الله يفرجها على الجميع ويهدي بال الجميع. شكرا ابو جويل.
الله يخليك ويخليك. استاذ جوزيف، رفعت ايدك في شيء؟ إيه؟ طيب ماشي. إيه استاذ هشام، افتح الميكروفون اذا كان معروف. استاذ هشام سامعني؟ تفتح الميكروفون، افتح الميكروفون عندك مسكر.
سامعك اهو.
ايوه. هسه انت تقدر تعمل شير سكرين، حولت لك اياه. الاشي معك.
اوكي.
لحظة
Dear
شوي،
friends,
بس اتأكد. لحظة شوي. اوكي طيب. Okay, everybody, it's our the eighth meeting today, January 26, 23, 26th of January. Our meeting will be about Jerusalem, the Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, with our friend, our colleague from the old city, inside the wall, Mr. Hisham Khatib, will take us journey through the history, the culture, the architectural things, and all this stuff. He's a mechanical engineer. He work in the education advisor and a lot of things. But the best thing that he like to do, as most of us, is guiding, especially about his own city, Jerusalem, which is our city as well. So the Forum of Arab Tour Guides invite him to give us this lecture about Jerusalem. Please, Mr. Hisham, we are all ears with you.
hello everybody. It's my honor to be to head this lecture today, and I would like to thank Forum of Arab Tour Guides for giving me this opportunity to hold again this let's say lecture or presentation entitled Al-Aqsa Mosque or the Noble Sanctuary, Historical and Architectural aspect. And I hope at the end of this presentation, I will have had, let's say, enriched your wide knowledge concerning the mosque in Jerusalem. As I know, or we don't all have, the same experience in general, especially for our new colleagues. This place that we are going to talk about today has its, sensitivities, and not all guests who come to visit the country are allowed to enter, and not everything is open for them. So the main, explanation will be as if it is for a Muslim group, because it's more general and more detailed than Muslim ones, regardless of their faith. So, as you know, I'll give now a general notes information concerning the groups, especially for the new colleagues. For non-Muslim groups, it's important always to remind the guests to have modest clothes, no shorts, no skirts, no holy scriptures. And it's also important to know that there are opening hours for summer and winter, and non-Muslims are only allowed to enter through Bab al-Magharbi or Dung Gate, and leave through other gates. And only open spaces are available to them. For Muslim groups, all gates are open, and they can enter, the subterranean halls, roofed structures, and stay also in the plaza. And it is important to remind and to tell, women that there is only one place where they can do wudu, or the ablution place, and at night or after sunset and before dawn prayers, only 3 out of 10 gates are open for them. So this is, in general. We're talking about, the mosque. The word, reveals, reflects, that it is connected with Islam. We know that Muslims conquered, Jerusalem and the Levant in general in 638 AD. Umar bin al-Khattab, the first or the second righteous Muslim caliph, received the key from the Patriarch of Jerusalem, Sophronius, and visited this place, as we know, from local tradition, not local, the Muslim tradition, early Muslim tradition, but the area is connected with Umar bin al-Khattab from early Islam, and we know about this from what Patriarch Archon, mentioned and wrote in his diaries, and he mentioned that Umar bin Khattab, or the Mosque of Umar, is for the Saracens. You may know this word. This word is a degrading, Muslims and Arabs, in general. We know about this word from the last church father, Saint John of Damascus, Yohanna al-Dimashqi, who wrote in his book, The 100 Heretics, Al-Hartaqat al-Mi'ah, and explains what it means. It means, the slaves of Sarah. So the place is connected with, one of the main Muslim figures and the companion of Muhammad the Prophet, Umar bin Khattab, from early Islam. So the area is located, of the mosque, is located in the southeastern area corner of the old city, and forms around 1/6 of the area of the old city. So it means it's huge. It's the largest open space. It has 3 levels because of the topography of this place.
من زميل هشام واطي، صوته واطي.
هيك أوضح؟ سامعيني هيك أحسن؟
هيك افضل، ايوه هيك افضل.
Okay. So there are, because of the topography of this place, there are three levels. So the level of the congregational structure or mosque that is mistakenly called Al-Aqsa Mosque, and underneath it, or there are subterranean halls below, and the highest area is the platform of the Dome of the Rock. So the Umayyads, it's an Arab Muslim dynasty, controlled, ruled, and founded this big Muslim empire and ruled the Levant in 660 and decided to revive the area of the mosque of today. So it was a very huge project that was initiated by Muslim Caliph Abd al-Malik bin Marwan and accomplished by his son Al-Walid. So it's important to know that it's not, that two ideas, it's only one idea, but, accomplished during the reign of two Umayyad caliphs. The main structures.
عذرا عن المقاطعه، كمان مره ارفع صوتك او قرب الميكروفون، مش عارف شو صار عندك.
صوته واضح لان استاذ الياس.
صوت واضح على 100%، ما بعرف. اوكي
استاذ الياس، الصوت واضح جدا جدا. يمكن عندك في مشكله، انت ما بعرفش، افحص الانترنت عندك. احنا سامعينه منيح منيح.
مساء الخير. لا كمان عندي انا مش واضح بالمره.
هيك منيح. اوكي بدي اعلي شوي. اوكي
دالكو شغله يا اخوان، ملاحظه للجميع. اذا الصوت مش واضح بيكون سببين. الاول الانترنت عنده انستيبل، وهذا ممكن لما يكون ناس كتير. بس السبب الثاني انه اذا قسم سامع منيح وقسم لا، المشكله بتكون عند المستقبل اللي عنده لا من ناحيه الانترنت عنده، او انترنت يعني على الواي فاي ضعيفه، او هاي على كابل. مش ممكن تكون هذه المشكله. فتعملوا معروف، اذا واحد مش سامع ممكن يكتب بالشات. واذا في اي مشكله بالصوت عند استاذ هشام، اذا انا ما سمعتهاش بسال كم من واحد المفروض يقولوا لي دغري على الماسنجر، براقبه ساعتها انا بخبره. تعمل معروف. تفضل استاذ هشام.
Okay, thank you. So the main structures that I'm going to discuss and explain about are, the first one will be discussed, let's say, imagine that you enter through dining gate to the plaza, and it will be clockwise. So the first will be the Islamic Museum, then the Southern Congregational Structure, and then the plaza, the Eastern Plaza, the Golden Gate, and the Northern Portico, Western Portico, and then the Dome of the Rock, and other structures in general in the plaza. So once you enter, the Dung Gate, to the right-hand side, there is a big structure that is known as, or it is the Islamic Museum. It's the first museum in the country, founded by the Supreme Muslim Council. It's considered today as, or known today as, a site museum. All what is exhibited inside is, was found, in the area of Al-Haram Sharif. In front of the museum, you see, capitals and ruins and remains of columns and stones. These were taken, they belong to structures, in this plaza, and most of them are dated back to the area after Islam. We see in this side the باب المغاربة, or المئذنة الفخرية after Muslim Quran school or madrasa that existed until 1967. Unfortunately, now you only see the gate or the entrance of it, but there is no structure because it was destroyed, in 67. The next main structure is known for all of you. It's Al-Musalla Al-Qibli. Qibli, it's to the south, or Masjid Al-Jami'. I call it like this and not call it, as a Masjid Al-Aqsa, because the word masjid has to do with the way how Muslims perform the prayers. So when they pray, they bow, yarka'u, and prostrate, yasjud. So prostration, sujood, to prostrate, yasjud, etc. So it's the place where Muslims worship Allah. And it has nothing to do with any, specific, let's say, a place. We know that the area of the mosque of today is 144 square meters. It can be bigger, but not smaller. What do I mean with that? Muslims follow, an imam when they pray. I'm sure, you remember how it was, let's say, in Kaaba, in Mecca, during Hajj, maybe 1 million, 2 million, worshippers pray, after an imam. And I'm sure that Al-Haram, the complex of Al-Haram al-Makki, couldn't contain, this number of people. So they prayed on the street. The question is, do you consider the street at that time a masjid or not? Yes, as long as they follow the same imam. So inshallah, one day will come when a lot of people come to this place and they can pray also in the market. So this structure is not original, and not dated back completely to the Umayyad period. The original structure was built during the reign of Al-Walid bin Abd al-Malik, finished in 705. It had 15 entrances, destroyed several times, but one of the major renovation and of this place was carried out by Fatim Caliph Al-Zahir li'Azaz Dinillah, and he gave this structure this size with the 7 entrances. By the way, this mosque or this structure is built after the Levantine Basilica style, or Nizam al-Basilica al-Suri. It's exactly, it looks like, the Church of the Nativity, for example, and Al-Masjid al-Umawi, in Damascus. In 1099, the history, the Crusaders controlled, Jerusalem and the country, and transformed this structure into a mosque and also headquarters of the Templar Order and the palace. In 1187, Salah ad-Din and the Ayyubids reconquered Jerusalem. It's important to know that the Ayyubids only replaced what contradicts with Islam. Icons, crosses, and all these Christian symbols in a mosque, and they left, what does not contradict. So the facade is dated back to that period. It's an Ayyubid period. The Mamluks and the Ottomans renovated and restored all, those who ruled, the Levant and Jerusalem, wanted to immortalize their name through these holy structures. And the last major renovation was carried out by the Supreme Muslim Court or Council, in late 30s, early 40s, especially after the decisive earthquake that struck the country in 1927. So we'll have the opportunity now to discover what is inside. Look at this facade, or this is the main entrance. it looks like as if you are entering a medieval European cathedral. But what we see is Muslim Ayyubid work. The Crusaders, spent or ruled, Jerusalem and the country or the central area for 88 years, and saw Jerusalem as a medieval European city. So they influenced their architecture. So all stonemasons, laborers could only do this kind of work. After 88 years, they changed a lot in the Haram area, but they didn't add or remove anything from the Dome of the Rock. We are going to discuss it later. To the right-hand side, we see the central nave, and there are also there are 6 aisles, 3 on each side. So aisle is a wall. So the western side is older than the eastern one. This is dated back to the Mamluk period, and the eastern one is dated back to the major renovation carried out by the Supreme Muslim Council at that time. I'm sure you know that it's a well-known story concerning these pillars, that these are the only or the first pillars to enter or to be imported to this country after the Byzantine period. It means that all what we see, in the area of Jerusalem, let's say, all the columns, are reused and dated back either to the Roman or Byzantine period. This is it's called a part of the Umayyad, the Fatimid Maksura. This mosaic is, well done, stands until today well preserved, with a famous inscription that mentions Al-Dahir al-Izaz Dinillah when he renovated, this structure. And he mentions his father, Al-Hakim Ba'amrillah. And these are 2 lines. The first line writes or shows the first verse in Surah number 17, Surah Al-Isra. To the right-hand side, we see Dikkat al-Mu'adhdhinin, this high platform. It's clear for you that it is, it's the art, how it is carved. It's a medieval art. And this is what I meant, that, Muslims didn't, remove what does not contradict with Islam. And this decade, now it's, it's used as tradition. But, in all times, it was very important, because those worshippers who were outside or at the end of the mosque followed, the man who was responsible for that before, let's say, the loudspeakers were, invented. The mihrab is, this is a historical famous one, because the inscription above it mentions Salah ad-Din Yusuf bin Ayyub, and it is around 800 years old. And we know the story when Salah ad-Din brought the member with him from Sham, Syria, and unfortunately this member, the original one, was burned in 1969. Pieces of it are exhibited in the Islamic Museum, and this one is a cooperative work, let's say, between different Arab countries, Jordan, Egypt, Morocco, and other countries. So to the east, there is a small mosque that is dedicated to Umar bin al-Khattab, with a prayer niche, let's say, mihrab towards the south. And we see, these twisted columns. So it's clear it's not a local, Eastern art. And the capital in the top, it resembles or is similar to the one that can be seen in the Chapel of the Ascension on the Mount of Olives. Other parts we see the rosette, and most probably this was the central nave of the Crusader church with the altar, but we don't see the altar, but we see the rosette. And to the right-hand side, we see other prayer niche dedicated to Zechariah, with this famous, let's say, trefoil arch, which is a purely, let's say, Umayyad invention. Now it's known as European art. We'll discuss it, later. We see, broken windows because of the, demonstrations and, tear gas and, all these issues. And it's important, to mention, if you have also non-Muslim, guests, that Muslims pray 5 times a day, and now it's something modern to have it, to work automatically on these technologies. The next place that is very important is known as the double gate. Most of you know this gate from the outside. If you enter in the Davidson Center, you will see part of this gate. So this gate is known as Al-Aqsa Al-Qadim, but it's not like that. It's not the mosque that was built or founded by Umar bin al-Khattab. And it's not more than a passageway enabled those who lived south of the Al-Aqsa Mosque to enter through this gate, and there's other gate. Most probably this gate was open for influential people, let's say, or those who worked for the Umayyads, especially before the earthquake that destroyed the Umayyad palaces south of the mosque, because this entrance is closer to was closer to the palaces, and the palaces were not rebuilt after that by the Abbasids. And we know about this discovery only, in the early 70s. But historians wrote about, this big, huge complex that is known as Dar al-Imar. The first tradition, it was called, Bab al-Nabi, not the double gate. We as tour guides know the stones, and we can date them after the style. They are chiseled and cut. So the foundations of this gate is dated back to period preceded Islam. It is covered by 4 domes, and it was sealed by the Fatimids in order to secure, the area of the mosque after they excluded the southern side of Jerusalem from the city and built, the wall there. During the Ayyubid period, the Ayyubids founded a school. The school does not exist anymore, and now it is a library. So this is one of the passageways that led to the gate, and we see one of the domes. Look at them. You see carved, decorated stones, but they are reused. They are not, let's say, in situ. They are in situ, dated back to the Umayyad period, but the builders collected, these broken stones and decorated, this dome. This is the library, and to the right-hand side, we see the decoration parts of it, and you can see, the next part when you go through the Davidson Center. It means, and this is a proof, let's say, that this was open for those who came to visit, let's say, the Emir of Jerusalem, for example, and work for the Umayyads in the complex. East of this of Al-Aqsa, or the congregational structure, we see the التسوية الشرقية that covers المصلى المرواني, and from the corner you see the southeastern side or corner of the old city and the mosque. And by the way, these green, this cover, these are shafts for ventilation. According to one of the studies, or Marhum Isam Awad, in his paper, he proved that the mosque that was built by Umar bin al-Khattab, or the area that was paved and made available for worshippers, is the area that is known today as Al-Musalla al-Marwani, or Solomon's Stables, as the Crusaders like to call it, because Arkulf mentioned that it contains 3,000 worshippers, and 3,000 can't pray, in the double gate, in that area. So in this subterranean halls, there is an entrance that is known as the triple gate. You can see it also from the outside, blocked by the Fatimids, the same issue, and there are 16 subterranean vaults from reused stones, and there is let's say a small musalla mosque area that is dedicated to Nabi Isa, the Messiah, the Prophet, and it was reopened and renovated in year 2000. So to the left-hand side, we see, part of the arch, the triple gate. What is important here to know is how to identify a pure original Umayyad structures or arches. Look at the angular cutting. The angular cutting. Moment. So, do you see this? This is the angular cutting. So wherever you see it, it's, let's say almost 100% it's an Umayyad structure. We see the bolts and different kind of stones that were used to build. Sorry, I cannot. Oh, okay. So, and this is, Mahad Isa from the inside. By the way, I haven't been, inside in my life. You can see it, from the door. And what you see there is the southeastern corner. This tradition preceded, the Ayyubid period. So it's from the early Muslim period. And this is connected, by the way, with some Christian, tradition. It's the pinnacle. And also, when, according to Muslim faith, and how it is mentioned, in Quran, that the Virgin Mary, or Maryam alayhi salam, left her family to the east. And this can be here, where she delivered, Al-Masih, or Isa ben Maryam. So, in order to commemorate, this incident in this holy place, most probably the Fatimid started this tradition in this site. So we leave the area, the subterranean halls, the Musalla al-Marwani. By the way, it's called the Musalla al-Marwani after Marwan bin al-Hakam, the founder of the Umayyad dynasty. And the Crusaders, as we know, called it, Solomon's Stables. They thought, that King Solomon, had his, kept the horses in that stable. There is other original Umayyad structure, which is known as the Golden Gate. By the way, this translation, or this name, is not, an accurate translation. So the Saint Jerome mistranslated, or translated, the word beautiful or Jamil wrongly, and it became, the Golden Gate. So it has three traditions. I'm going to explain, about this, in a moment. It's still standing Umayyad structure. It's a monumental gate with two passages, two decorated facades, and it's connected with one of the Muslim, jurists, Al-Imam al-Ghazali, and he spent 2 or 3 years in this structure and wrote his famous book, Ulum Ihya al-Din. And it's important to know that this gate was blocked by Sultan Sulaiman the Magnificent when he fortified Jerusalem, and not by Salah ad-Din, in order to keep, the area safe. And he reinforced, the eastern side of this gate. And when you have the opportunity to go there, you will see, see the gate as a tower. So the three traditions, according to Jewish tradition, it's Susa Gate. This existed, until 70 AD, destroyed by the Romans, all this. But according to their scriptures, this gate that is mentioned, or the gate that is mentioned, Shushan or Susa, is opposite the rock, which is inside the dome of the rock. It means if there was a gate, or the gate must have been built around 40 to 5 meters south of this area. So this is the Jewish one. The Christian one, so this is the gate through which Jesus entered on Palm Sunday. So the gate that existed here, let's say, until 70 AD, was not open for ordinary people. So the Messiah must have entered either through the southern entrances or the western ones. Also, others, tradition or history recorded that Heraclius, after he reconquered the Levant and get, the Holy Cross back, he entered triumphantly through this gate. I think, he didn't enter through this gate. Maybe he entered through Lion's Gate, because the area was abandoned during the Byzantine period. And other tradition says it's the gate through which, the Messiah will enter when he returns back. According to Muslim faith, Muslims believe that the Messiah will return back, but he is going to come back and enter Jerusalem through Damascus gate, because he is going to descend from the heaven in Damascus, then enter the city from the north. So this gate was studied by Ustaz Ahmad Taha, discussed, these traditions and proved that it is an Umayyad gate because of the style of the carving and how stones were, reused. So we'll get into the gate now, and it has now some problems, that, Israeli, groups wanted to have a synagogue inside this gate and all this, these issues. So from the inside, we see the gate, two monumental, columns, capitals, and this facing east. And to the right-hand side, we see some decorations and how it was built. And the capitals, I couldn't, add, more pictures, but, it's clear, that these capitals and pilasters, these are, all reused. That's why I say that it is not a Byzantine, neither Byzantine nor Roman gate. It's a pure Umayyad structure. Notice that in this gate, there are no benches. So I like to call this gate the gate of the VIPs, because they had, they don't have to wait. They just enter. So we will walk, the area, we'll walk to the east, sorry, to the north. And this is, the northern portico. It is dated back to 2 periods. This area that we see close to Lion's Gate, it's dated back to the Ayyubid period, and to the west to the Mamluk period. And there is, 1 or 2, let's say, minarets. Let's say now 1. And it's the minaret of Bab al-Asbat. This is the gate, you know it. And this is the minaret. It was renovated, several times. And it's the only round minaret in Al-Haram al-Sharif. It's worth mentioning that the minarets in Al-Aqsa Mosque are built either to the north or the west, not south nor east. Because, after the Fatimid period, the area south of Al-Haram al-Sharif was left, outside. So people didn't, live there. And to the east, what we have? We have the graveyard. That's why, they didn't build, any minaret, neither to the south nor to the east. This is important also now. This is, the remission gate, Bab Hutta. So the name Hutta, Hitta, is mentioned once in Quran, and it has to do with, the Israelites or the people of Israel, or, Bani Israel. And it says, if you enter, this gate, and قولوا حطة, God will forgive your sins. So this is one of the original Umayyad gates. By the way, it's the same axis of the triple gate. So there were 3 gates in this area, entrances, but we only see 1 now. And look at the angular cutting. Yeah? This is, Umayyad, and these are Crusader decoration. And, Bab al-Asbat, it has to do with the Asbat, the Israelites, or the sons of Jacob. And this is Hitta. So it means, and we saw before the Mahd Isa. So Muslims accepted, all through the traditions that has to do with the people of the book, and does not contradict with Islam. It doesn't move. Okay. When we walk further, we'll see the third, gate, which is the King Faisal's gate, or Bab al-Itir. By the way, there is a small inscription. You see it? Ayyubid 1 on this side, mentioning, Al-Madrasa al-Mu'addamiyya, which is outside. And we see other Mamluk inscription with the ranks of the man or the person who donated and built this school. It's the stick. We know that the Mamluks came from Central Asia, and maybe they played, rugby or something. I can interpret it like that. And now it's a house. So now we reach the western portico, which is entirely, Mamluk. And there are 7 gates and 3 minarets. And one of the famous schools is Al-Madrasa al-Ashrafiyya. So this is the gate. It's called after a family. That is Nur Gawami, until today, and they live in Jerusalem. And to the right-hand side, we see the minaret that is called after this family, or the gate. By the way, this minaret marks the northwestern edge and corner of Al-Haram al-Sharif. The next gate is, Inspector's Gate. Inspector is Bab al-Nadir. Who is the Nadir? It's the Nadir al-Haramain, of the two noble sanctuaries, Al-Haram al-Qudsi Sharif and Al-Haram al-Ibrahimi. And his office, was outside this gate. It's called Al-Madrasi, Al-Manjakiyya. The next one is Bab al-Hadid, Iron Gate, or Bab al-Argoniyya, after the school, exactly outside this gate, and was built by Argon al-Kamili. His name was Argon al-Kamili. Bab al-Mathara, Abu Shingate. By the way, until the 60s, or I think the 60s, people could enter, to Al-Haram al-Sharif through this gate after they pass by the, the hammam, take a hammam, Hammam al-Shifa or Hammam al-Ain, and then enter through this gate. Now they cannot enter, this gate, but the families who live inside, they have especially the key, but they can, enter to their homes, but not to Al-Haram at night, because this small door will be closed. Cotton Merchants Gate, it's the famous, the most, decorated gate in Jerusalem. It's called after the market, the Cotton Merchants Market, and this is the Cotton Merchants Gate, and this is typical to the Mamluk architecture, with the niche and stalactites and mukarnasat, the oblong benches, and the inscription. By the way, for those who are interested, this is, let's say, an open quote. There are 5 panels, on this gate that are in situ original, that haven't been studied yet. So it's an opportunity for those who are, interested in Islamic studies, architecture, history of architecture and art, to study these panels. This is Al-Madrasa Al-Ashrafiyya. This is one of the most famous schools in Jerusalem. It was described by the Muslim, jurist, Al-Ulaymi. I forgot his name. The name Al-Ulaymi. Al-Uns al-Jalil. He wrote Al-Uns al-Jalil. Anyways, so he said he described it and as a third jewel in the area of Al-Aqsa, after the southern congregational structure and the Dome of the Rock. So, and although the facade that we see is symmetric and typical to the Mamluk style, but we see other, facade to the north with discs and also inscriptions. By the way, this school functions as Sharia school until today, and it's a girls' Sharia school inside the mosque. And to the northern side, we see there is a restoration, center for manuscripts in Al-Haram al-Sharif. So the sixth gate is Bab al-Silsila, chain gate. So there are 2 names. So to the left-hand side, this is Bab al-Silsila. After Silsila, we are going to talk about it. And to the right-hand side is Bab al-Sakinah, Tranquility Gate. And this is, the third minaret, which is called, after Bab al-Silsila. Close to Bab al-Magharib Gate, there is a subterranean, small mosque that is called Al-Buraq. So outside this area, there is the western wall or Al-Buraq wall, and we see, the lintel of the gate, through which people could enter to the area from the west until the Mamluk period. And look at the arch or this vault. It's similar to the one that we saw at, you know, in the double gate. And there is a ring, we don't see it here. So traditionally, it's a place where Muhammad the Prophet tied, you know, his winged horse, heavenly, you know, steed, Al-Buraq, before entering, you know, the mosque. So, the Dome of the Rock, it's a well-known structure all over the world. Built during the reign of Abd al-Malik bin Marwan, stands until today, built to commemorate the night journey. So because of this, you know, occasion, Jerusalem is holy for Muslims. In addition to that, there are, you know, Jerusalem, as you know, but just to review this, is, or Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, this mosque is the second mosque where Allah was worshipped after Mecca. It's the first prayer direction. So Muslims prayed around, you know, 17 months towards Jerusalem before it was, you know, redirected to Mecca. It's a place of the night journey. And this area, or this mosque, became number 3 after Hijrah, when Muhammad the Prophet founded his mosque in Medina. The structure was transformed into a church, you know, Templum Domini, and this is how the tradition of the temple started in this area. So on the outer, you know, side was renovated by by Sulaiman the Magnificent. It's a famous, you know, famous major renovation. And he replaced the withered, you know, mosaic that decorated this structure from the outside and replaced it with this blue ceramic. There is, by the way, a big, you know, let's say, or I'll tell you when I finish about reminding me. So, if you have the opportunity to see, you know, old pictures, you will see that the dome was not gilded, but the original one was pure gold. Then the Ayyubid, you know, minted the gold to renovate this area, and only during the Jordanian rule, the dome was gilded again. So the dome, which is first, you know, this is something, you know, very important. It attracts, you know, all visitors to Jerusalem today. What do you think this structure did, let's say, 100 or 1,000 years ago? So the structure is built, you know, in the highest level and covers a rock, and it is called after the rock. It's an octagonal structure, as all know. In average, you know, there's, okay, the diameter of this is around, you know, 52 meters. Height is around 54, you know, meters. The length of one of the sides, the outside, around 20 meters. Height, this is around 10 meters, and so on. Outer octagon, and there are 4 gates in the 4 directions of a compass. What does it mean? It means that this structure has no main entrance, and all could enter, leave through the gate they like. So the outer octagon, okay, you see, okay. So this is clear, the outer octagon, the intermediate octagon that consists of 8 piers, 16 pillars, and it is decorated from the inside and outside. I'm going to discuss this later. And a rotunda, 4 piers, and 12 pillars. And there is a rock. And the rotunda carries a drum with 16 windows, and the drum carries two domes. The inner one is decorated, and the outer one, you know it, it's gilded. And these three structures are connected with wood beams. And this is the rock and the decoration. So, if you ask now, we are going to discuss something about this important, you know, structure. If you ask anybody, maybe, you know, your guests, you know, will know about this. Why this structure was built? The same answer. In order to commemorate the night journey, Isra and Mi'raj of Prophet Muhammad. Full stop. So, scholars who are interested in Islamic art and history, and also this place, started to ask questions. Okay, why the structure was built? So the Umayyads didn't, you know, leave any clue why it was built. But since it is original, mainly from the inside, you know, and its decoration, so let's study it. It doesn't move. I'll try.
Time, Sham.
مش ماشي الهاي.
لا, give it a time.
Okay.
Might be stuck.
Okay, we'll wait a little bit. So,
Exactly. Just as I advise you,
okay.
before you finish, move to the second slides. That's all. Before you finish your explanation, move to the other slides. That
Okay.
give it time.
Okay. We will wait a little bit. Anyways, so what did they do? They said, okay, so we need to take into account, you know, three main, you know, elements. So the location, architecture, and decoration. So the location, it's in the highest area, and we all know that it houses a rock. So this rock must have had a holiness or a meaning or something. And we know that it is al-Isra wal-Mi'raj today. Although there was a dome dated back to the early Muslim period that was built to commemorate the Mi'raj. And we still have one today, which is located west of this structure, and it's called the Dome of the Ascension, or Qubbat al-Mi'raj. So, okay, the location, because of the rock and the cave which is inside. The architecture, it's an octagonal structure. It's not something unique, you know, in the country. So we know that the main altar of the Church of the Nativity was octagonal. You know about Katisma Church on the way to Bethlehem, St. Peter's House in Capernaum, and the church in Caesarea, etc. So this structure reflects holiness. And during the Byzantine period, martyria were built using three forms, either octagon, cruciform, or rotunda. In this case, we see two, the octagon with the rotunda. And the cross, you know, does not apply to this area. We still have the cross in the Church of the Virgin Mary's tomb, you know, in the Kedron Valley. It doesn't move, unfortunately, until now. What shall I do?
Try with double click maybe to the screen. Double click.
يكليك لحاله والله. Okay.
Okay. Here you got it. Hisham, by the way, you are now 7:15. Let's take 10 minutes. or 15.
I'll summarize shortly.
Okay.
This is the most important thing. Okay. So, okay.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, it's okay. It's good. So concerning the architecture, so it's a martyrium, it's a commemorative structure. By the way, it was transformed formally during the Ayyubid period to be a mosque. Before that, it was an edifice, is a sarh. People could pray there, but not a communal prayers because of the rock. How could they follow the imam? So the main prayer was performed once, but in the southern congregational structure. So, and you can compare this structure with a very famous structure in Jerusalem, which is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. So what do you see? Rotunda, a dome, and down you see a grave. So the Church of the Holy Grave, and the Dome of the Rock, you see the dome is called after the rock. So it's a martyrium. And the third element is, the decoration. So there are geometrical decorations, flora, calligraphy, and symbols. So there are flora or fruits. So these are the fruits that are mentioned in Quran and grown in this country. An example, I'm not going to use the cursor now. Look at it, you'll see pomegranates, you see, grains, you see pumpkins, you see grapes, you see figs. Yeah. And what else? You see palm dates and olive tree. By the way, the olive tree resembles the one which is in Damascus in front of the Umayyad Mosque. Calligraphy. Calligraphy, by the way, is very important. So you see, the oneness. So the calligraphy mentions, let's say, have a theme of, the 4 themes. Yeah? The true message of Prophet Muhammad. This is one of them. The oneness of Allah, with no doubt. Yeah? لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له لا إلى آخره. Isa and his mother, Isa is a prophet. He's neither God nor the Son of God. This is one of the what is mentioned here. And these are verses from Quran and invocations. And also, it's an invitation, from my point of view, not for the whole people of the book, because at that time in Jews were not more than families, at that time. But the main message was for Christians opposite or close to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. They were inviting Christians through this structure to be Muslims, but not faithful. Yeah. It's not necessarily, from my point of view, that they ask them to believe in Muhammad as a prophet or Quran as a holy book, but you have, some misinterpretations of your scripture because of this. And we see invocations here, and dua. There are other, but these are the main, messages. And also the calligraphy mentions, it's a dedication, of this structure. Maybe it's clear. To the left-hand side, I'll read for you. Bana هذه القبة, you continue, Abdullah, and then other one, Abdullah, twice. What does it mean? There's a mistake. It's not a mistake, because when the Abbasids changed, let's say, renovated, this structure, this script moved, the name of Abd al-Malik, so Abdullah, Abd al-Malik, and became Abdullah, and then Abdullah al-Imam al-Ma'mun, I see it to the right-hand side, Amir al-Mu'mineen. So they called themselves the leader, the highest person, the prince of the faithful, not, the prince of Muslims. So this is good to keep it in mind. في الكونتينيوت في سنة 72 after Hijra. Symbols now. There are two kind of symbols, religious and political. We see symbols that are influenced by the Christian Byzantine holy art, and jewels and crowns. We see the crown, and there are earrings, breastplates, necklaces, and so on. And this resembles the one, it's similar to the one to the right-hand side of Emperor Constantine. And this is from a church that was built in the 6th century in Ravenna, Italy. I haven't been there, but you can Google it and see, how it is similar. By the way, it's kind of borrowing. It's not something that, that was stolen. It's like this, civilizations, borrow from each other. And I mentioned, the arch, the trefoil arch that became European, but originally it is from the dome of the rock. Other, political one, we see the wings, yeah? And look to the coin. It's an Umayyad coin, by the way. And there are other, symbols with this crescent, but we see the wings, and this is, let's say, a Sassanid, not a Sassanid coin, this is a Sassanid king, yeah? And the name is written Al-Hajjaj ben Yusuf Al-Thaqafi, you all know this person. So they were influenced by this, and through these symbols, they were sending messages to the people of the book and the non-believers in Jerusalem, and neither in Mecca and Medina, because it's open for everybody when they come, that there is a prophet that is called, Muhammad. They have a holy book that is called, Quran, and this is, the message. So this was the, let's say, the PR for this new empire, and it means that through this structure and through these decorations, that all those who come and live in this region are under the fold of the Umayyads or the Abbasid or this new religion. This is the entrance to the holy cave or the gate of the cave of the spirit under this big rock. And to the right-hand side, we see original Umayyad prayer niche with this arch, with three, small curves. This is what I mean by that. And the after one, okay. So this is the importance of the Dome of the Rock. It's a message. Early, caliphs, sent message through this. East of the Dome of the Rock, there is the Dome of the Chain with 11 sides. It's original, and most probably this is the place where Umayyad, caliphs held their annual meeting and met their, the emirs, and where they crowned or appointed caliphs also. An octagonal structure. It is the Dome of the Ascension. It resembles the one on the Mount of Olives, the Chapel of the Ascension. On the platform of the Dome of the Rock, you see, some small domes. These are called khalwisels, mainly built during the Ottoman period. And these scales, there are 8 scales, dated back to different periods: Mamluk, Abbasid, Fatimid, and Umayyad, and they have their own tradition. Other important thing is the domes and the water fountains. The most famous one is Sabil Qaitbay, which is original with its decorated carved dome that is unique in the entire Levant. There are enough of this, in Cairo, in Egypt, but there, the top mausoleum, not a water fountain. It means, and this, for this, the dome or this fountain is very unique in the entire, Muslim world. And to the right-hand side is an Ottoman Sabi built by Suleiman the Magnificent. There are different platforms to play and to attend, lessons, lectures, and so on. Oh, okay. بظن هيك okay خلصت. Okay. So this is, in short, how about, Al-Aqsa Mosque. There, the mosque, needs, more explanation and details. And I hope you enjoyed, this lecture. And that I added, even a little bit to your wide, deep-rooted knowledge of Jerusalem in specific. Thank you very much.
Hisham, thanks a lot. Indeed. A lot of information, a lot of details. I promise you, you will get from me a lot of phones to ask you after hearing your lecture twice and 3 times, because so a lot of details, important ones, some of them, at least for me, it's new, and always to study more. So please stop sharing first your screen. Stop
Okay.
sharing. And I take the lead over here. So everybody turn on your phone if there's any question to Hisham about his really great lecture. Please raise your hand or make a sign.
I am so proud of
شكرا.
this occasion that we have our friend Hisham. Thank you a lot, my friend.
شكرا.
I promise you, we will have you again and again, not only about Al-Aqsa. We will have another occasions to have you as a lecturer, but I want to add a surprise. You see this?
Mhm.
This is the map of Al-Aqsa, 2 sides. Who will take part in the second conference of our forum in the 9th of March? You will have this one, and together with other maps of very important sites that we lead groups to there, they will have it as a gift from the forum, to have it as a instruments in their work. Hisham, thank you very much,
Pleasure.
and hope to see you again and again.